Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Authentic Podcast with Justin Doulard. And thank you for tuning in to another episode. It's time!
All right, we are back. Jimmy, I appreciate you stopping in. Kind of a rain check. I was pretty sick a couple weeks ago, and like I said, turns out it's glad we canceled because we got hit pretty hard by COVID, but we're recovered now. So, but thanks for coming by, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, and yeah, thanks for letting me know. So I'm glad we canceled, and hey, let's do it.
Yeah, excited to get you in person. I know we've talked a couple times virtually. I always say my in-person ones are so much better. I feel like, sometimes you have to do virtual. It is what it is, but I feel like you get a lot better conversation when you're one-on-one. So, well, you're back, man. You got you're about 10 weeks out till the fight, correct?
Yeah, a little over 9 weeks, coming up on this Saturday. So camp's been great. Everything's good. I'm excited fighting the number 13 guy in the world. So can't get no better than that.
That's a good starting point with one of the topics we kind of had. Asked some people for questions. So it's only your second fight in the UFC, but you asked for a top 15 opponent and you got it. How does that work?
Oh, technically, I didn't even ask. I actually asked to fight in December, and I seen on Jeff Molina's Facebook after I found out I was fighting Jeff Molina that he asked to fight in December as well. But I'm guessing there was no openings, and that's why we got announced for the first fight of 2023, and we'll be fighting January 14th.
At the Apex?
At the Apex, yes, they got that, and Kevin Gastelum versus whatever the guy's name is he's fighting. Mm-hmm. Jeff Neal is fighting the undefeated guy in the co-main event, and looking like right now I'm like the main prelim, so that would be super dope.
Okay, is it weird going from fighting like LFAs and all these with lots of fans, or I guess lots of fans for a smaller promotion, to your first two fights UFC, no fans? I guess now Apex has a little bit of fans, but your first fight was no fans, right? Yeah,
actually my first fight with no fans was the LFA title fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I fought in a big arena in the main event.
So they were doing LFA fights during COVID with no fans?
Yeah, when I fought, so I fought in 2020 4 times. My first time I fought on leap year, and I fought on, February 29th, leap year of 2020. And I had fans that was in my hometown. I won the FCF 125 title against something Bazzi. But I beat him by submission, armbar in the first round. And then like 3 weeks later, COVID hit. And they started canceling fights. And then about a month and a half later, LFA started doing events with no fans. And it was in July of 2020. They flew me out to South Carolina, and I fought, what's his name, Greg Fisher, for the 125 title. There was no fans. There's a big arena too. It was crazy. So like you can hear the steps in the cage, and it worked out good though too, because I could hear everything his coach was telling him to do. And I was like, that's not right. So like it worked out, and I changed the angle, and then ended up submitting him. And then it was 9 days after that when I got the call to step in to fight Nate Smith on the Tuesday Night Contender, which is actually at the Apex. So, and we didn't have no fans. And then the UFC fight, no fans. This time we're going to have fans at the Apex. People keep telling me, I'm coming. And well, unfortunately, it's like a VIP experience because it's so small. And tickets are $1,600 each. And I was like, I can't have people flying out there to be in Vegas and then a hotel, food, everything, and then a $1,600 ticket.
That's a lot.
I was like, unless you really got money, please don't.
Yeah.
There's going to be more now. Like the retirement thing is not happening no more. So, like, we're out. I'm 32. And I know this is my last run. I got 3 fights on my contract, and I got a chance to jump into the top 15 in the world on my first fight back.
And you're feeling good?
Oh, I feel great, man.
Was it hard getting back in it?
Oh, yeah, dude. Mentally, physically, and emotionally, things changed big time for me. And
Yeah, you had a lot happen, man.
yeah, in those almost 2 years, like, people don't realize, like, I didn't train at all. Like, I jumped in and, like, promotions people had that wanted me to be there for jiu-jitsu or little training sessions. I tried to pop in to help, but maybe 3 or 4 times I trained since I retired. And then I was out for a while, and then had a lot of stuff happen. And next thing I know, I got my coach and one of my main sponsors, Harvest Health, and his name's Tony. He started getting me out and about, motivating me to get back, asked my little girls what their opinion was, and my girls were motivated for me to get back in the gym, said they would love it. So it motivated me to get back. And a few weeks after being back in the gym, my manager kind of just, hinted to the matchmaker that I was interested in possibly coming back, but I didn't know the UFC's thoughts. And then next thing I know, I got a phone call from the UFC, and they're like, "We need to put you in USADA." I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, they're like, "Oh, we heard you want to come back." And I was like, "Well, can we break down what's going on?" And then, hey, the next day I was back in USADA. So that's all it took was a phone call from the UFC.
Nice. You answered a lot of questions there in one response, talking about how is it getting back into the pool or getting ready to roll? How do you make those connections and calls? And then the other big one was just, one of the guys that I follow, big UFC guys, saying, you had a pretty successful and active 2020, and then you had a fight scheduled, and then, you retired abruptly. Now you're coming back. What was that mental shift like, going from being so busy, having a fight, abruptly retiring, and then now you're back?
It was a big difference. It's like, I was not.
Were you having people poking at you saying you should do this, or was it only you?
Oh, actually, literally, nobody had a clue that I was even gonna retire. Like, nobody.
You announced that at a live event, right?
Yeah, I did. But like the way it happened, I was on my way to gym and got done training one day, and it was just after Easter weekend. We had Easter weekend, and I just mentally just had so much going on, and it just, also I think with a lot of people don't realize is like I cut weight a lot of times, and I used to be a lot bigger. Now I'm not as big as I used to. My body's kind of finally settled, but I cut a lot of weight, and I did it a lot in 2020. And then Cody got pink eye, and I turned around and I had 12 days to do it again. I weighed in at 125 pounds on a Friday. Saturday, I usually weigh 143 when I fight. That night after the fight, I break 150. On my way home, I break 155. And Monday, when I wake up, I'm usually 160.
And are you trying pretty hard, or is that pretty healthy weight?
No, I just miss food. So, like, I diet and I eat really good and try to do everything right, and so after I just gorge, because you don't know when you're not going to be able to gorge no more.
Sure.
It's probably not the safest thing, and so now hopefully my body's established better where I won't do that, and now I can get right back in the gym to stay active. That's what I want to do. I actually want to stay active fighting. I'm so close to quitting my job and doing it full time, and then, hopefully turn into like the Kevin Holland of the 125-pound division, and fight a lot.
Yeah.
So,
what are you walking at now?
About 148.
Okay.
So I don't even jump on a scale no more. So
not until a couple weeks out, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Yeah, I'm training hard. I'm fit. I drink 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons of water a day, no problem. And I'm good. I feel strong. So I don't take supplements or nothing, but I found out the UFC will hook me up 6 weeks out. So I don't want to take nothing from nobody else. I'm just too afraid with all the testing.
All the tainted supplements.
Yeah. I've already been tested twice since I've been back in USADA. And then I imagine they'll show up one more time before my fight, which I love. So
how does that work? Do they just contract guys out in the area?
Well, they have different people. Yeah, my guy's from, I think he's the only one from Oklahoma. He's down from Oklahoma City.
So he'll drive down to you?
Yeah, we have something called UFC Whereabouts, and you kind of give them your day-to-day. Like, I get messages like, hey, you're supposed to be at work, and then gym, and, they don't come to my work, but he knows, like, I'm supposed to be at gym, and if he goes to my gym and I'm not there, then they go to my house, and then,
Isn't that a little excessive, you think?
Not really.
No?
Honestly, most people have a tracking. Why don't they just, search my iPhone. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give it to you.
Well, I remember that one of the interviews you did, I listened to. You said you were like a celebrity or guest auctioneer,
yeah.
and they came and you were like, "Dude, I'm gonna like, can you give me a little bit of
Actually-
time for an event?"
No, actually, what happened is like the event was going on, and my phone kept ringing, and I was like, "Y'all, my phone keeps going off." And I had about 80 people at this event for a fundraiser, and they were like, "It's probably your car warranty." So I decided to answer it. Nah, it was just it was right down the street. But yeah, once they if they don't get in contact with you and you're at no location and they can't find you, and I didn't put it in my whereabouts, then it's a missed test. And then if it's a missed test, technically a failed test because I didn't provide.
A miss is a fail.
Yeah, it can be. And then I have to do all the documentation. I got to tell them where I was at, why I was at. It's just, it could be a lot of paperwork issues, And it's kind of what happened with, what's his name? Yair. He didn't care to update it and tell them, and then so he kept missing them. And so many misses is, no. So I try to make them. I don't like to miss them. I mean, it makes it easier. Last time I wasn't at my work when my guy showed up. So he was like, "Hey, where are you at?" I gave him my location. He said, "All right, I'll be there." And he said, "Start drinking water." So started drinking water. By the time we got there, we had 15 minutes of paperwork. I was ready to go. Less than 30 minutes is in and out, So sometimes it can be longer because you don't know when they're going to be there. But they make it pretty easy. I enjoy it. I think it's great. I think it's good. My guy don't show up at no 5 o'clock in the morning or anything like that. He hasn't showed up in my work. I mean, they know when I train, where I train, and
Yeah, I saw last camp or last fight. I think it was Kamaru Usman was complaining because they showed up at like 5 o'clock on fight day or the day before, and he was like, "Man, I'm at my worst right now, cutting weight. Like, cut me some slack. I'm trying to sleep. Like, this is, a really big deal." So,
yeah, that's insane.
Didn't plan on asking it, but I have to, or don't have to. I'd like to because I like to hear perspective from people, especially someone who is doing it and actually fighting. What are your thoughts on the situation and TJ Dillashaw and the way he got busted and came back and, he got a title fight, 2 fights later, after a 2-year layoff with EPO. I guess just your thoughts on that overall, because some people were saying, he manned up because he got caught, but he's saying, "Hey, I served my time. My slate's clean now." So what is your outlook on that?
Yeah, man, I agree. I mean, he served his time. He's back, and I mean, obviously, it didn't go good against Aljamain. So, it don't bother me none. I mean, I don't do steroids or have never really cared to. I'm a small guy, so I mean, I felt like for him, he might have been doing it on more of a weight cutting, to be able to make the weight
because he went to flyweight, right?
Yeah, and then like that's the one he failed.
Yeah, against Henry.
Yeah. So, and I believe that's the one. So, and I think that's why he did it. And yeah, he manned up and he took it. He came back and he looked great until that last fight. So, and then now he's blaming it on his shoulder, which kind of sucks because,
it did look pretty nasty. I mean,
yeah,
his point there looked pretty legit. I don't know if that is the truth, but it looked like it.
Yeah, and it sucks though too. But then they say it's been happening in training though, and that's like where Dana's like, well, if this stuff's been happening in training, then that's your own fault because you could have got out of it. You
believe him about what he said about the ref before? He was like, "Hey, my shoulder's gonna pop. Don't call it." You think that was true?
I don't know. That's crazy because at that point, then you can get in a lot of trouble. And the ref could get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, because we fill out paperwork, like a lot of paperwork, and about having injuries and lying about injuries. Like, if you lie and then after or in the fight it happens, you think they're going to pay for it?
Yeah, I guess I never thought
Why
about it like
would
that.
you go public with it?
I thought that as a fan. I was
if
like,
I'm really going to go into a fight with an injury, I'm gonna, after the fight, be like, win or lose, like, oh, I got hurt in the fight.
Yeah,
like,
not reveal your whole secret there.
Yeah, to try to go viral or fucking
defend yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of dumb because he, like you said, he just spilled his whole beans, and now his next 2 or 3 fights, everyone's gonna know that shoulder, if it's true, is trashed. It's gonna be their primary target, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You think? Have you ever thought about going up to 35, or are you too small for that against those guys coming in at 35?
Oh no, I think I'm way too small. Like I fought, Chris Gutierrez. He was huge, and It was just so hard to get a hold of the guy, and I tried to get him to the ground once, and I swear I had him there, and somehow he popped back up. And the guys are huge, but at 125 I feel so strong, and that's why I love to grapple and see how strong they are. That's why my fight, I love to get it to the ground and see if they're strong as me and have as good jiu-jitsu as me. And that's why I like to say Khabib wrestling, Damian Maia jiu-jitsu. I like to take them down, and then I like to choke them.
Would you ever give Cody Durden a rematch? I know, it wasn't like a huge hyped fight per se, but I know he called you out after and said that, you didn't really, you got lucky per se. Would you ever be interested in fighting him again?
I think if we're both ranked down the road, but I don't even think the UFC cares. If the UFC wants it, I have no argument. I don't think so. But to me, no. I don't care. He literally took me down, had my back, and punched me, and I still got back up to my feet. And then he says he tore his knee and all this stuff, and I don't know. I don't like making up excuses. I got 5 losses, and I took them for what they are. One of them went to a decision I wasn't happy about, but it is what it is. And I haven't been to a decision since, so I solved that problem. So, and I kicked him in the face. If I wouldn't have hit the flying triangle, I still could have knocked him out with a head kick.
Yeah.
So, and then I guess that would have been lucky too. I don't know. So if the UFC wants it down the road, I think it'll be a good story. But right now, no, it don't make no sense.
Do you think O'Malley won that fight against Peter Yan?
No, not at all.
You think that's Yan?
Actually, I did not even watch the actual decision. I thought I was so confident
that it was Yan.
Yeah. I understand it now. Haven't went back and watched it again. But the damage he did, and he's very active. Sean is, but no, with the takedowns and everything, I thought Young got it 29-28 unanimous. I didn't even think it would be a split, so but that's why I don't like going to the judges.
Yeah, that's what they all say, but I know it's not always easy, right? You can't always get a finish, pour your heart out into it. Sometimes you got a tough guy you're gotten, so I know you're big into betting, or at least making picks. Maybe not betting, especially now. I don't know if you were, but you can't anymore. But I was going to ask you, what do you think odds-wise would open up versus you and Molina?
Obviously, me coming off of retirement, Molina being 3-0 in the UFC, 11-2 overall, I would say he would be a favorite.
Maybe like a minus 150 or something, or 200?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Did you follow the lines when you and Durden were on?
Yeah, they changed so much.
Sure.
And, I think I ended up being the favorite the first time.
It was, from what I remember, I think it was pretty close.
It was pretty close both times, I believe, either way. So, but Jeff Molina, if you look at it, his last loss, though, was to Nate Smith, the guy being on the Contender Series.
Okay.
And he lost to him by a split decision. So, but that was, probably 5-6 years ago. But besides that, that's what I'm saying. Betting odds ain't really got much to go off of with me coming out of retirement, because everybody don't know, how good I'm going to look, if it's going to affect me. But I've had a 2-year layoff before because I had knee surgery and was out for a long time. So it's not my first time to be out for 2 years. So I'm excited to be back.
Because Molina was a Contender Series guy as well, right?
Yeah, he actually fought the week before me.
Okay.
And he fought one of my buddies, Jacob Silva from Houston, Texas.
Okay. You keeping up with this potential fixed fight from one of James Krause's guys? Did you see that?
Yeah, I don't think it was a fixed fight.
Not fixed fight. Maybe a dive or something.
Well, I don't even think it was a dive. I just think he knew that he was hurt, and that, I don't know. But I watched the fight again, and he does kick and shows that it's hurt, then he kicks again. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, why do you kick again?
Well, did you see kind of what happened with the odds?
Oh, yeah.
And then they said there was some pretty large...
Within 2 hours of the fight, it dropped. It's the biggest difference. He went from negative 220 to negative 400 and something.
And you know that that's one of Krause's guys. And Krause is known for talking. He has a betting podcast,
all kinds of stuff. And him and Jeff Molina as well talks about betting.
Yeah,
giving out picks and
Yeah.
whatever. So it's crazy, man. And
See, like yours is. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no,
but-
no, I was like, it's crazy to see what's going to happen with it.
Sure. Well, it's interesting because, like, you give out picks, right? But you're never like James has a Discord where he talks about making money. You know, I think there's a difference in making picks and then talking about how, hey, I make money on fights, and then this is his guy. But it's also bizarre that, you know, just 30 days ago, 40 days ago, you guys could bet, you know, on yourselves or anybody. And they, of course, they you know, outlawed that or said no more. But didn't really say anything about like coaches or people associated with the organization.
Well, what's crazy is like on betting sites, I've done it and I've bet it, you know, but on DraftKings, I've been kicked off for 2 years.
What'd you
Like,
do?
No, because of like the first time I retired and they told me I couldn't bet on fights no more because I retired and I had to wait a year. So then after a year, they let me start betting again. But as soon as I entered back in the USADA, I was cut out of DraftKings again. I can't play
Really?
MMA DraftKings. No,
How do they know that?
because of my email.
I know, but how many fighters are on the roster?
Yeah,
How do they know that? How are they so quick? You know what I mean?
Well, because for a long time, I kept going back and forth with community service, and I'm like, look. And they even gave me free money because they couldn't figure it out. And then next thing they know, they're like, oh, you are an actual fighter, and this is why, and we have these guidelines and stuff. And, like, they say that we could have inside information, like coaches and family. Now I understand it. Yeah, they could. Like, depression, if they trained as hard.
Yeah.
You know.
Real things that no one else would know outside the gym.
Yeah, and that's why people don't realize, like, they're like, boxing makes flat money. MMA, we got to fight to win. Or we get show money and win money. But you got to win to get that win money. And I think that's based on the fact to make fighters fight. You know, we fight because we know we're going to get that win money. If you're hurt, but you know you're getting $500,000, you're like, I don't care if I'm hurt.
I
I'm
gotta
showing
get the
up to
bag,
get
yeah.
paid,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that's what makes the difference and why we have win money and show money.
Yeah, and in a one-on-one match, there's always a chance, right? Especially from a guy who's super tough. And I mean, even though you're hurt, you still might win. You might have the
Oh,
edge.
yeah.
I mean, people
Yeah,
that are
they're
hurt
gonna
all the
show
time
up.
come out and win. So
Yeah, you're going to show up regardless, so.
it's kind of like that that NFL player. I don't know if you saw it, but he was for the Falcons. They caught him betting on FanDuel, I think by his email or something, and he got flagged. He was betting on his own team to win, but he got suspended for a year, I think. You know, and then some of these NFL guys will do some pretty serious crimes and get suspended for like 4 games, and then he gets cut the year because he was betting on his team. So
Well, Floyd Mayweather, they're talking about betting
Oh,
on
yeah.
himself all the time.
he did too.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can still have just somebody that's not a family member or whatever still bet for you, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Kind of under the
still,
table.
Yeah. I don't care too much for it. I do flick picks, and I just do that for fun. That's just, it was a catchy thing. And hopefully somebody will pick it up, and I'll go to a website or, you know.
Kind of be like a consultant or something.
Yeah, you know, and I try to do my locks now, which I hit my last week's lock, you know, which means I pick 3 fights that I think are for sure wins, and I hit it last week. Sometimes I don't hit it at all, but
Who was your lock last week?
they were all finishes, actually. The dude that choked out Nate, whatever.
I didn't watch last week's
Nate
card.
Madness or whatever, and then I can't even remember now, but they all won. One of the girl fights was a flying knee to the body.
Okay.
She was one of my locks.
It's Wednesday now. We got a pretty big card Saturday. So do you got any locks yet? Or are you still thinking on it?
Yeah, I usually wait until after weigh-ins and stuff before I make my picks because I like to see how people look, react. If they miss weight, I'm not very usually confident on picking them, you know, based on who they're fighting.
Wasn't there 5 weight misses this past weekend or
Yeah,
4?
Yeah.
This girl cut her hair to not.
to make weight.
Yeah.
And, yeah, she lost, and then I think most of them I think only one of them that missed weight won.
Well, on paper, maybe not locks, but what do you got for this weekend?
I think a lot of people are sleeping on Izzy. I think Izzy, I don't know if he will finish him, but I think Izzy will be smart. He'll be on his bike, and he's going to frustrate Alex. And I would like to see him finish him because I think Alex has just been doing a lot towards Izzy, you know, posting videos and knocking him out, you know, and apparently this has been going on for years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every time Izzy would win a fight, Alex would post a video of knocking him out and stuff. So it's
Just getting in his head.
yeah, like, and it's crazy because, so I'm excited to see that fight. And then Chandler Poirier, I'm so on the defense about, because I don't know, I wasn't excited. Like, Poirier looked like crap in his last fight. Alex, I feel like, just dominated.
It was against Oliveira, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only one I've been to live. So.
Yeah, and I was just disappointed in that. You were there live, though?
We were live, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we were pretty high up, but we were there. So, and
it don't matter.
Yeah, I'm a big Cody Garbrandt fan, and so that was pretty disappointing too, because
yeah,
it's just kind of been all downhill for him.
Yeah,
for the most part. I mean, 5 out of the last 6 dropped, and
yeah,
it's usually first rounders. So, but we did get to see one of the biggest upsets with Juliana Pena beat Amanda Nunes. That was crazy.
Who'd she beat?
Nunes.
Oh yeah.
The first time.
Yeah, the first time. You were at that one too.
That was all the same one. It was good.
That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't know about that one. I think Justin, if it's his old self, he'll be able to come back in later rounds. But Chandler's a monster. If he comes out and lands, I think it could knock him. So.
Chandler's fun to watch, man.
Yeah, yeah.
He's exciting.
He's entertainment.
He really is, and he could back it up too.
So you know who else is on the card? I can't remember who's the third fight on there.
You got those two, and then you got the women's Weili versus Esparza. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I want Weili to win, obviously. Esparza's just not very entertaining, but we know what she's going to do. She's going to try to wrestle Weili.
Yeah, Zhang Weili's nasty, man.
Yeah, and she's strong, and I think smaller to the ground. Maybe she can keep it standing and knock her. So, hopefully Weili wins that one.
Yeah, and then there's a couple other ones on the main card that I can't forget. Of course, those are the big 3. So, another big question we had, shout out to Lindsay, my wife. She always asks good questions too, so I appreciate that. You kind of talked about when you went into retirement, you were kind of fighting for the wrong reasons and really trying to reestablish a relationship with your dad. Coming back now, is there a different reason you're back, or anything in particular that drew you? Has your relationship with your dad gotten better, or are you just back because you left too early?
I'm back for a lot of reasons, and I really don't even know if I know the real reason why I left. There were so many, so I just thought I was doing the right thing. But yes, actually, me and my father do talk. It's gotten a lot better. Everything I went through the last couple months, my dad and mom's been there a lot helping me, and it worked out great. And the main reason I'm coming back now is I found the passion for the sport. That's what a lot of people don't realize. I was hating being at gym. I think because all 2020, I had so many goals. I had so many aspirations to accomplish. It just never stopped. And I never quit working. I never quit fighting. And I've always wanted to fight full time. And now after everything I went through, I have a chance to fight full time and to fight for my girls. And that's what I'm doing. I'm fighting to leave something for my girls. I don't have nothing. I'm starting over from zero. So now I want to give my girls something to have, a future. And I'm passionate to be in the gym. I'm passionate to learn again. I'm excited. I think the layoff is what I needed. So
just a little break.
Yeah, to really see, and like they say, no matter what, if you really love something or you're meant to do it, it'll make its way back.
It'll draw you back.
Yeah, and it did it. And I did not. What's funny is I entered USADA July 14th.
Okay.
Of this year, back in July. Early June or late May was when they had the Ironman race here in they have it over there by the Keystone Dam, where they have the Ironman race where they ride a bike so far, they swim and run. It's called the Ironman. Well, anyway, where's he going with this? Well, the USADA, the guy that drug tested me, was in town drug testing people for the Ironman. I was downtown partying. And me and some friends.
You were not doing the Ironman?
No. I was partying. And he ran into me and he was like, hey, what's up, man? You ever coming back? Blah, blah, blah. We took a picture, and I was like, no, I'm not coming back. It was a month after that picture that I entered into USADA. He said when my name popped up, he was like,
You liar.
yeah, he was like, so I couldn't have told nobody I was coming back. It was, I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I'm excited. And my father will actually be in my corner. He hasn't been in my corner in probably 7-8 years.
Oh, he's going to corner you January.
Yeah, he'll be there.
Nice.
So he'll be my best friend, my coach, my father. So I'm excited about that, and go fight the number 13 guy in the world. So.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I know you kind of talked about goals and how you were like so overwhelmed and wanted a break, but now that you're back, are you a little more relaxed in your goals, or do you have a vision, or are you just trying to fight and win and take it day by day?
Oh yeah, I have goals, a lot of goals, and my first one is I start off in January 2023, so I want to fight 3 times. I have 3 fights left on my contract. It's a 4-fight contract. I fought once. I got 3 left. I would like to fight in January. I would like to fight in the middle of the year, and then I would like to fight at the end of the year. Well, if not, sooner, So my plan is to fight all 3 fights, win all 3 fights, get a new contract, be the top 5 in the flyweight division, and win the UFC flyweight title in 2024.
That's awesome. Yeah, I wasn't sure because, a lot of people try to say they want to make a living out of it. Some people want to fight till they can't. And then, especially like a guy like James Krause, Molina's coach, he had mentioned that not everyone should aspire to fight for the belt. Some people just, I guess that's an unpopular opinion, but he said, I never really wanted to be champion. I just wanted to make a living and do good things and kind of propel. And of course, I know, that is your opponent's coach, but I'm a big James guy. I don't know if you follow him or not.
Oh, yeah. I like James.
He's very well rounded, and it kind of seems like you have goals like that too. You want to fight, but you're kind of trying to pivot into sponsorships. You're looking at maybe growing a business. You're writing a book, which I wanted to ask you about. I'm a little disappointed it hasn't been out yet, so I was going to ask. You got any updates on that?
Yeah, it's on hold big time. The whole point of the book was supposed to be a storytell ending, and that ending is not a storytell right now. So
you made the call to pause it?
Yeah, I did. And to be honest, I mean, like the first couple chapters we got that were really good, but after that, it didn't fall into place like I wanted it to. So, and then with everything that went on in my life and all the changes, and then it's not there. That's not my goal now. It will be in the future, but there's going to be a lot more chapters now. So it was just a little too soon to be true.
Well, that's good that you didn't just put something out just because you had it planned. You're like, I still got a lot going on. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like you said, you had a lot of big changes even since then. So,
yeah, my publisher, we thought about trying to get a book out. I could do a part 1 and a part 2.
Yeah.
But it just didn't click the way I wanted it to. And if I'm going to tell my story, I want it to be told right, and I want people to understand it, and it wasn't coming together. And I think now in the future, it'll come together a lot better.
Sure. As you grow and you've only got 1 fight in the UFC, I guess it's 2, right? 1 contender series and then 1 regular match.
Yeah, I don't consider it
okay.
Contender, but yeah, I got 1 fight in the UFC right now.
Well, as you go on and kind of progress, was going to ask if you ever thought about going to an outside camp like some of these other guys do. Like once they get 2 or 3 fights, leave their hometown for 8 weeks. All the big guys seem to go to a camp outside. Or are you a guy kind of like Bryce Mitchell? You're like, I don't need to go anywhere else. Like I can get the work just as good as I can in Broken Arrow as I can anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go train with people for like a week sometimes, but no, I'm not big on changing it. Right now, it ain't broke. Don't fix it. Just because people don't know who my coach is does not mean he's not the best.
Sure.
So, and
that's kind of like I said, a Bryce Mitchell attitude.
Yeah,
people always say leave Arkansas, but he's like, I don't need to.
No, because I went through many different ways in my career with many different people, and Coach Leo from Forza Combat Sports, ever since I got with him, I've won a kickboxing fight that I won by unanimous decision, and then I've won all 4 of my MMA fights by submission. He's a striking coach, but he's helped my striking to close the distance, to be able to defend myself well, to feel confident, I hit pads a lot. I used to never hit pads. I had my best friend hold pads for me. I never really worked my striking until after I got knocked out by Ray Rodriguez. So I got 5 losses, 1 by decision and 4 by knockout. So it's either killed or be killed. Out of 21 professional fights, I've only been to the scorecard 3 times. So,
yeah, that's impressive.
And 2 of them was a decision, and that was to the same guy twice. And then I lost a decision in Albuquerque, New Mexico, to the hometown boy that I wasn't happy about. So ever since, I was 7-2 when I lost that. I haven't been to a decision since. So
you think that loss kind of tied in that he was the hometown guy?
Yeah, I mean, he did damage, but I mean, I took him down every round, had 3 to 4 minutes of control, almost submitted him multiple times. He relied on the altitude to make me tired, which it did. And I think but I did not think he got the decision. A lot of people that watched it didn't think so, but that doesn't matter. The refs did. So, yeah, and I mean, having fans in your hometown yell and, help out in certain situations probably helps too. So, but hey, I didn't make no excuses about it. I got back to fighting. I've been up and down from 135 to 125, and then I finally got settled at 125, and I've been tearing it up ever since.
Yeah, and I mean, throughout your career, you probably had some of those moments where you were. I mean, because we get a lot of fights here in Oklahoma with all the casinos, right? I mean, I assume most of your fights have been in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I started out most of my career in Texas, and then the second part of my career has been in Oklahoma, and then like I said, I went to LFA, took me out to South Carolina, and then I fought down in Texas a few times.
And then were you XFN as well?
Yeah, I was the XFN 135-pound champ at one time. Chris Gutierrez took my title.
Okay.
And and Ray Rodriguez.
Yeah, when you came on Contender Series, I remember because it said Oklahoma, so naturally I was like, okay. And then I was like, okay, I used to go to those XFN fights quite a bit, but I wasn't a real big fan. Didn't follow the sport a ton. But then your name is just, it's rare. So when I saw it, I was like, okay, I've heard the name. I know I've seen him fight before. It's been a long time. But then we started drawing into the Contender Series. So
yeah,
and that's kind of how we started following James Krause. He was on the roster, and I actually had him on the podcast too. But he was an Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, he went back to the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, and I asked him that too, and I was like, dude, how'd you get an Ultimate Fighter as an active guy on the roster? And he's like, I just asked him. He's like, I thought my career was kind of at a standstill, and I wasn't getting the attention I wanted, so I was like, let me go on Ultimate.
Smart.
Yeah, and I mean, that's when I first started following him, and I think I've watched him more outside of the cage, doing his business stuff, or than I ever did watching him fight in the cage. And then he was always a big, what they call like a big gamer. Took that fight on like 3 days notice, was coaching and was like, I'll fight.
Yeah, all the time. Dude.
Offered to fight on 24 hours notice, but they said no. So.
Yeah, James he's a great dude, man, for sure.
When you took the Contender Series call, you said it was 9 days after you just won a title?
Yeah, after I won the LFA title. I was 162 pounds 9 days after the LFA title when they called me to fight Nate Smith. I had 4 weeks.
And you just said, sure?
Yeah.
So 4 weeks, cut 40 pounds? 38 pounds?
No, it was like 37 or something like
that's
that.
40 pounds to me, I'm sure, but that's crazy.
No, every pound counts. Man, dude.
You Contender Series, how does that work? Because I assume that you apply or try to be on multiple, or no?
No, actually, you don't apply at all. They'll contact you. That's the whole point of having managers and everything. But I fought on LFA, and I fought for the LFA title, and then
so that obviously helped.
Ed Suarez, the owner of LFA, me and him's always had a great relationship. He's the one that puts the belt around the fighters, and he said he would put a good word in with Mick to go ahead and get me signed if possible, and told me to stay ready. And besides getting a little fat, I was turned around and got right back ready. And I still to this day, I think Nate Smith was my best performance. I was so dominant in that fight, and my cardio was amazing, and I've been killing it, man.
How did that fight end?
I finished him in the 3rd round by submission. I currently hold the record on the Tuesday Night Contender for the most submission attempts
It was like 7 or 8, right?
Yeah, it should have been like 16.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I heard them gurgle a lot just because they don't see the submission. And
Sure.
I had a couple different submissions that, in my opinion, I mean, it's a submission, and he was fighting to get out of it. So
And then next fight, you get, is it what, the second or third flying
the
triangle?
third flying triangle, the first one in the flyweight division.
Third ever in company history?
Yeah, and then it'll be the only one in the company history without no fans.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
So.
Walk me down how that happened. Did you see that coming, or?
Oh, no. Like, well, a lot of people ask me, did you train it? Well, I've wrestled my whole life. And when I got into jiu-jitsu, I feel like I'm one of the few people that enjoy being on their back in jiu-jitsu. Most of your wrestlers, they don't like to be on their back, you know.
They're uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, Michael Chandler, like, for example, you put him on his back, you think he's throwing up arm bars and triangles. Not really, you know.
Sure.
And there's a lot of guys like that are really good wrestlers, but they're not jiu-jitsu guys at all. And that's where it just fell for me. And I love giving my leg and throwing flying triangles. And I mean, if you do jiu-jitsu, you know, one arm in, one arm out. And I like jumping up and doing flying stuff. So, and as an amateur, one time I kicked a guy in the head, and as I kicked him in the head, he took me down, which he fell into a triangle. And I kind of grabbed for it at the same time. It wasn't quite the Cody Durden flying triangle, but pretty much almost the same thing. So, but yeah, I mean, I didn't train it, but I've done it in gym.
Gotcha. And you got the bonus that night, right?
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Oh, it was great, man. Like, the way it works, man. I mean, they deposit money in your account, so it went straight into my account within a week, and it was mind blowing, you know. So, and then Uncle Sam got his part later that year, and that was 22 G's.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Really?
But and everybody's like, 22 G's, you lost half, but they don't. That's not, when I say 22 G's, that's of everything I made that year. You know, like, not just
of the bonus.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I made 70,000 for the fight. And then, you know, I made 10 on the Tuesday night contender. I made like 6 or 7 on locals, and I worked a full-time job, and I had sponsorship. So I made over 100 G's in 2020. That was one of my goals. But unfortunately, Uncle Sam got 22 G's of that.
Yeah, at least it's not 22 of the bonus, but still, that's obviously.
Yeah. Thank goodness I was able to put it back and, you know, made the right decision. And then when it came about, I got it paid for. And
well, that's what they say. A lot of the guys struggle with is they make the money, but they've never had to file taxes like that, or had to pay. You know, you're used to making $40,000 a year, and then you make $100,000, and you're like, you didn't, you know, financially plan appropriately. So
yeah, now that's why
people get into tax trouble like crazy.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. So now actually I'm a LLC, and all my sponsors pay my LLC. I pay for my gas, my certain food, certain travel, all out of my LLC. Then
So you can
I
write it
actually
off.
have better write-offs. And then the plan is, you know, go and get another $50,000 bonus, quit my job, and be able to pay myself monthly to provide for my bills and stuff like that, pay what I have to out of my business account, and get more write-offs.
Yeah.
So, and actually spend my business money and be a business like I am.
Yeah.
You know, and
And then expand on books and merch and
commentating gigs and everything. And speaking of merch, yes, I have a merchandise link up on my social media. Instagram won't let me drop it for some reason, but if you get to my fan page, you can actually just type in www.thebrickmma.com, and it'll take you straight to my fan base or my fan page.
Okay.
You can like my fan page, and then the merchandise link's right there. December 22nd, if you're local, you can pick up. It's in Prattville. It's Inkwell Printing, and if you're not local, you can just have it shipped to you, and it'll be there before the fight. So
Yeah, and on this episode, I'll always drop the link to that too.
Yeah.
I'll put your link, and then I'll try and go find the actual link to the merch. So.
yeah, it's all over now. I got it figured out, but I can only drop it on like Facebook and stuff. Like Instagram won't let me drop it.
Yeah, Instagram's weird like that.
Yeah,
so.
you got to do all kinds of stuff for it, but it's
You can-
pretty cool, man. I have hoodies, I have long sleeve shirts, I have 2 different colors. It's just The Brick, and I'm trying to brand myself with the new just The Brick logo, and I like the logo. It's simple, and I got hats coming out as well, but I would be selling those myself. I'm doing those on my own.
On the side.
Yeah, just to move them myself, to see, do certain giveaways with them. And everybody that hits the merchandise link, if they, you know, send me a screenshot that they purchase something, I'm doing a big giveaway where I actually have a pair of shorts that I fought UFC vet Chris Gutierrez in for XFN, and I lost that fight in the third round by leg kicks. But I dropped Chris in the first round. I dropped him with an up kick. The only person I've ever dropped in an MMA fight was Chris Gutierrez. And I'm going to sign those and give them away. I'm going to have a glove from HKA USA. I'm going to have one of my old Flick of a Switch hats. I'm going to have a bunch of stuff to give away for all the people purchasing merchandise. You have until December 4th to purchase your merchandise. And then the giveaway will be Black Friday weekend.
Okay, so we got a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Well, I know you got to get training soon, and we've ran for a good amount of time. So anything else you want to plug before we let you loose?
Yeah, most definitely. I want to give a shout out to all my sponsors that will be on the back of my fight shirt. Shout out to Harvest Health, Industrial Motor Services, Tulsa Sport Acupuncture, Evolved Health and Wellness, Simpsons Truck Lining, Primary Collectibles, Broadway Barbershop, The Parlor Hair and Ink. They're doing my tattoo. You see a whole big tattoo on the left side of my shin when I come out.
I saw you working that. I want to see it before.
Yeah, I'll show you. And we're not done yet, but it's awesome. International Crematory Services for all the bodies I'm going to be putting down. Inkwell Printing, who's doing my shirts, all my merchandise. HKA USA, Forza Combat Sports, CrossFit Sand Springs, and Ryan BJJ.
Nice, man. That it?
Yeah, man. And I appreciate everybody for the support that likes, shares, purchase merchandise. Appreciate you for bringing me on here. So
yeah, man, I'm definitely gonna buy some merch. You got the hat on. I appreciate that. Yeah. January 14th, Las Vegas.
Yeah, Jeff Molina, number 13 flyweight in the world, and his UFC's O's got to go.
Well, as you mentioned, I probably won't be there due to the cost, but we'll be watching and ready to root you on, man.
Hey, I appreciate it.